A warm, pleasant, and happy morning to our additional director, sir, joint director, sir, and all the webinar team members, dear students, and all the viewers of our Telangana State Model School YouTube channel. I welcome you for this today's English session. Myself, G.M. Archana Priyadarshini, Principal, Telangana State Model School, Manakondur Mandal, Karimnagar District. Dear children, hope you are all doing good and safe at home. Today, we have come to take you to a very beautiful place where you might have gone to that place as an excursion or a family trip. Are there any guesses? Yes, to a very beautiful place, Golconda Fort. And today, Madam is going to teach you about Golconda Fort poem written by Sarojini Naidoo. You know, children, we all visit the places, but we forget the things because we'll be enjoying, and after coming to home, we forget about the things. But if you start writing the places where you visit, definitely you'll become a great poet or poetess. That is how, when Sarojini Naidu visited Golconda Fort, she wrote this poem. I would like to say a small slogan written by Sarojini Naidu before I introduce today's presenter. A country's greatness lies in its undying ideals of love and sacrifice that inspires the mothers of the trees, mothers of the race. We want deeper sincerely of motive, a greater courage in speech, and earnestness in action. If you have these three, especially sincere or sincerely a motive, greatness of courage when you speak, and very earnest in action, you will become a great personality. And this lady, uh, you know uh, before I reveal something, we all have nicknames, you know that is also called as sobaki, like Chinnu Minnu, uh, Chinni, Chotu Motu, like that. But this lady has a very special name which was given by Rabindranath Tagore. Her name is, any guess again? Bharat Kokila. It is also called as Nightingale of India. So with this, I gave a small introduction of Sarojini Naidu's, and we are going to take you a very pleasant, beautiful place where again you can remember your childhood days when you are visited as excursion. In this poem, the poetess uh, immortalized the beauty of Golconda Fort through her verses. She says there are many historical tales which are associated with the Golconda Fort, which has stood unmoved for years together. The fort has not lost its charm. Even today, if you visit, we'll be thrilled to see the structure, to see the architecture in the uh, on that fort. So let me introduce today's presenter, Mrs. N.KALYANI Reddy, PGT English, Telangana State Model School, Chegunta, Medak District. Madam has been teaching English for the past 20 years. She has a very vast experience in teaching English. She has been associated with many courses from SCRT and other groups. So children, without wasting time, let me welcome Mrs. Kalyani Reddy to take over the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Archana ma'am. Good morning, children. I hope you all are doing really well. So, are you all ready, children? Today, as ma'am has already introduced, I'm going to take you to the royal tombs of Golconda, and we are going to visualize. Any guesses? Today's guide for us is going to be the great poetess of India. So, we are going to go on a tour to the royal tombs of Golconda, and we are going to visualize the experiences of Sarojini Naidu through her vision. Okay, so let us start, children. Okay. As was mentioned, today we are going to do a poem and under module 2 of unit 6. The title of the poem is Royal Tombs of Golconda and it is written by Sarojini Naidoo. Okay. And before we begin, I would like to just know, did you ever visit any of these places in Hyderabad, my dear children? You can see the names of the places as well. That's the first one is the Salatin Museum, which treasures a lot of antique things, and then the Tangban, which is holds the statue of Buddha, and then the Golconda Fort, about which we are going to read today, and then comes the Charminar, the Qutub Shahi tombs, and the Makkah Masjid. Can you tell me what is common among all these things? Yes, these are in a way called as the monuments, especially the Qutub Shahi tombs, the Golconda Fort, and then Charminar and the Makkah Masjid. They are usually considered to be heritage sites and one of the famous monuments of our uh, state. Okay. So if at all, any one of you have visited these places, what was your feeling? How did you feel, children? Okay. Did you feel that, you're very regretful when you found ruins of the forts and they are all ruined because of wars and all? Or did you feel sad? Or did you really feel brave and happy that, we hold such kind of heritage? And then, today, we are going to look at the feelings of one of the poetess when she visited it. Okay, so get ready, children. I'm going to take you into the time machine and we are going to travel through time into the age of kings and queens of the Qutub Shahi dynasty. Okay, so before we actually go and visit them, let us just know about this Qutub Shahi dynasty and the kings. Okay, during the rule of Bahmani, Kuli Qutub Shah, born in Persia, came to Deccan and he had become the governor of the region. Kuli Qutub later became independent and for own Qutub Shahi dynasty is established in 1518. The Golconda fort was built by Kuli Qutub in his region two times such as Ibrahim Tank and Hussein Sagar. That's what we call as the Tangband, or were built including a bridge on Musi, which is known as Purana Pool. Okay, and he was a great ruler, children. There was always a unity when he was ruling during his reign. Okay, the Hindus of Telangana region remember him for his immense patronage of Telugu literature. Many Telugu poets, Telugu literature, language, everything was given a real push. It was patronage during his rule. That is the reason why they are regarded as one of the greatest kings of the Deccan kingdom. Okay, now today we are going to look at a poem that talks about the Qutub Shahi tombs. So, the tombs of these Qutub Shahi kings were built just a few kilometers away from the Golconda Fort. Situated about 2 kilometers from Golconda Fort, the tombs of the seven Qutub Shahi rulers amidst the beautifully laid out gardens. There is a big, vast garden. In the middle of it, you find the tombs of all seven Qutub Shahi kings. Okay, and those gardens are named as Ibrahim Bagh. And the speciality of these tombs is every arch, every dome is a gem of Qutub Shahi architecture. They speak about the greatness of the architecture. They were really, symbols of the great architecture that was, patronage during their rule and set in picture perfect. And if you look at the calm and serene surroundings, very peaceful, spread across several kilometers, you will really feel very happy, children. Okay, now this particular poem titled The Royal Tombs of Golconda is penned by Sarojini Naidu. As ma'am has already introduced Sarojini Naidu, I just would like to continue with the same thing. So, and she's an Indian poetess of English language, and her nickname. She was fondly known as Nightingale of India, and that was because of her voice. She has such a wonderful voice, and she used to recite poems. And not only that, most of the speeches of Gandhiji during the freedom movement, especially in the South India, were translated into the other vernacular languages during the meetings by Sarojini Naidu in her great and bold voice. So all these together culminate, and therefore she was given the title as the Nightingale of India. I hope you all know what's a nightingale. It's the cuckoo bird. Do you know what a cuckoo bird is? Yes, the coel. It has got such beautiful voice, right? And that is what. And because she also has such wonderful voice, she was fondly known as the Nightingale of India. Sarojini Naidu was a great patriot who took part in freedom struggle and became the first woman governor of UP. She was truly one of the gems of the world. Okay. Now, she was born on 13th February 1879, and her father, Agurinath Chattopadhyay, was a scientist and philosopher. And the roots are from there. He was a philosopher, so that led to, Sarojini Naidu's growth as a poet as well. And her mother, Barada Sundari Devi, was a poetess. She was also a poetess. So there lies the roots, my dear children, and used to write poetry in Bengali. Sarojini Naidu was the eldest among her eight siblings. Sarojini Naidu was a brilliant student. She was fluent in many languages: Urdu, Telugu, Bengali, English, and Persian as well. At the age of 12, Sarojini Naidu is known as child prodigy. You know who's a prodigy? Prodigy is a learnt person. At a very young age, she began to write poetry. And not only that, she topped the matriculation examination at Madras University. She was interested in poetry and she started writing poems in English at the age of 16. Then she traveled to England to study first at King's College London and later at Eton College, Cambridge. Okay. In 1905, she got recognition as a poetess when her collection of poems were published under the title Golden Threshold. You know what's a threshold, children? A threshold is the entrance of a house. Okay. So now her poems, collection of poems, she got her first recognition for her collection of poems, which are titled as Golden Threshold. And one more interesting thing that I would like to tell you is she named her house also as the Golden Threshold, children. Isn't that really interesting? Then some more collections of her poems are titled as The Bird of Time, The Broken Wing, and A Treasury of Poems. The speciality of her poems was that they had English words but an Indian soul. And children, I remember very well that we have already read some of the poems of Sarojini Naidu. Just to recap, the Bangle Sellers. Okay, do you remember this poem, children? Bangle sellers are we, and describing different shades and colors of bangles with different age groups of women. That's what is the beauty of the poems of Sarojini Naidu, children. They are, they describe the customs, the traditions, and the rituals of our country. And this is how the Westerns they came to know about the greatness of our traditions and culture and customs, our attire, the accessories that we wear. All these, they were portrayed in such a wonderful way in her poems that they all started imitating us. Okay. Another gem of the poems is Palanquin Bearers. What a wonderful poem it is, children, that talks about a young girl who got married and she was taken in a palanquin. Palanquin, olden days, the brides were taken, the girl who got married, she used to be taken by the palanquin bearers. And her feelings were so wonderfully described in it. And that was a tradition in our country which was portrayed through a poem. That is the beauty of the poems of Sarojini Naidu, children. Okay. And the Parda Nashin. This is also a wonderful poem, children. And if you get any chance, please do read this. I know you haven't read this till now because you haven't come across this poem in our literature. So I would suggest you to read this because Everything, the attire, the feelings of the young girls and the women are so well portrayed in her poems. Yeah. Now, coming to our, sorry, children, coming to our own tour today, we are going to visit the Qutub Shahi tombs. But before we visit, I would like to take you through this wonderful tomb one so that you can have a visual delight of it. Okay, just take a look at it, children. The beautiful domes, the spacious surroundings, the lush green surroundings that you find around. They are really beautiful, children. Okay, I hope you can all see this. Isn't that wonderful, children? Okay, I hope you have really enjoyed this. Okay, children. Now, let us just see what made Sarojini Naidu write this beautiful poem, children. So, the poet visits the Qutub Shahi tombs. Once, she visited the tombs of the Qutub Shahis. And then, okay, uh, okay. And then the poet visits the Qutub Shahi tombs in Hyderabad. As she looks around, okay, as she looks around, she feels that she has stepped into the past. She can visualize the royal empire in all its glory. So, whenever you go to a historical place, children, you're just taken to that place, right? You just become nostalgic, and then this is what happened with Sarojini Naidu also. She was really mesmerized. She was spellbound, and she just felt as if she started dreaming about the past, the era of the kings and the queens of the Qutub Shahi. Okay. Then she was overwhelmed with sheer delight as soon as she stepped into the premises of the tombs of Golconda. She was carried away by the serene beauty of the surroundings at the fort and traveled into the bygone era, that is, the ancient times. She felt as if she was in a dream and visualized the glimmering music of the royal spears and the beautiful queen's laughter. Okay, so before we actually read the poem, let me recite the poem for you, children, and then we can see a detailed explanation of it. And before we start with the poem, let me tell you that this poem has three stanzas of 8 lines each. Okay, so let me recite the poem for you, children. Please look into your textbooks or just close your eyes and listen to the recitation, children. I muse among these silent fanes, whose precious darkness guards your dust. Around me sleep the hoary plains that hold your ancient wars in trust. I pause, my dreaming spirit hears, across the wind's unquiet tides, the glimmering music of your spears, the laughter of your royal brides. In vain, O kings, does time aspire to make your names oblivion's sport, while yonder hill wears like a tire the ruined grandeur of your fort. Those centuries falter and decline, your proven stronghold shall remain. The embodied memories of your line in fame, your flower-like bodies through the tomb. Death is in truth the vital seed of your imperishable bloom. Each newborn year, the bulbuls sing their songs of your renascent love. Your beauty awakens with the spring to kindle this pomegranate groves. Isn't that really wonderful, children? Did you really enjoy the poem? Yes. Now let's take a look at uh, some of the rhyming things that you find in this. Okay, so you know what's a rhyming scheme, right? Okay, children. Now let's take a look at the first stanza. The first line, that's, the last word of the first line, that is fames. Okay, so it is rhyming with plains. And then the second line, last word, dust, is rhyming with trust. Similarly, hears and spears, tides and brides, aspire, tire, sport, fort. So this is how, if you see, every alternate line has rhyming words. Okay, now let's take a look at the detailed meaning of the poem that's being written. Okay, let me recite it once again and then we'll see the detailed meaning of this, children. I muse among these silent fanes, whose spacious darkness guards your dust. Around me sleep the hoary plains that hold your ancient wars and trust. Okay, so I muse. What do you mean by muse? Thinking, she was transported. She was really spellbound when she saw the beautiful tombs of the Qutub Shahis. And she started, muse. M-U-S-E, muse is nothing but when you go into deep thought. She started thinking very, seriously. She was lost in time, children, among the silent fanes. Okay, so it was so silent, calm, and it is such a wonderful place. Fanes are well-known places. Okay, so they are such famous kings that their tombs are also well-known. So in those the silent fanes, okay, she was lost and she was deeply thinking. She was taken to another world of the kings and the queens of the ancient era, whose spacious darkness guards your dust. The fanes, these monuments are, they are spacious darkness. That is, they are inside, their tombs are lying in spacious areas where, their dust, their bodies are guarded by, the darkness. They're such vast, extended things. Around me sleep the hoary plains that hold your ancient wars and trust. Now, this is the beauty of Sarojini Naidu's poems, children. If you see, she is not talking about wars as a means of destruction. She's only counting the achievements, the victories, and the bravery and the gallantry of the Qutub Shahi kings. And she was saying that around me sleep the hoary plains, these old plains which are surrounding me. Okay, they all, speak about your ancient wars and trust. They speak about the gallantry of your wars, and they stand as a testimony for whatever wars you waged, the victories that you have, achieved during your life, during your reign. Okay, so I muse among these silent fanes. Sarojini Naidu was deeply thinking among this. She was surrounded, she was standing amidst the Qutub Shahi tombs, and it was so silent and calm. And these, famous tombs, okay, she was standing among them and she was deeply thinking and she was just describing the place. And what was she saying? Whose spacious darkness guards your dust. Okay, so they are so spacious, and you are buried here, and these monuments are guarding your dust. They are guarding your tombs. Around me sleep the hoary plains. When I look around, I could see these ancient plains. Okay, and these all speak that hold your ancient wars and trust. They all speak about the gallantry, the bravery, and the victorious wars that you have waged during your reign. I pause. My dreaming spirit hears. Now, Sarojini Naidu She thought that, perhaps she was dreaming because she could just see everything in front of her as if she was in a dream. I paused. She just throbbed across the wind's unquiet tides. And why did she stop? Because she could hear some noises, sounds. Now, where are the sounds coming from? Across the wind's unquiet tides. The winds are compared to the tides, and into the winds, when the wind was blowing, she could hear the sounds. Now, what sounds are those? The glimmering music of your spears. You know what's a spear? It's one of the weapons that is used by, the warriors during the wars in ancient India. So, the glimmering spear, the spear was shining with the sun rays, and she could hear the music of the spears, okay, when the kings and the warriors and the soldiers, when they were just practicing in the fort. She could just visualize the fort with the kings, the queens, and the people and the soldiers. And she was just dreaming. And in that dream, with the wind, she could hear some noises. And the sounds that she could hear were, first one was the sound of the music of the spears. Okay, your spears. Whose spears were those children? They were the spears of the kings and the soldiers who were really practicing for another. They're getting ready for another war, and then they were practicing with the spears. And those spears, they were shining with the sun's rays. And when that spears clash with each other, there is some noise. And along with the wind, she could hear those noises because she was dreaming about the past and she was taken to the past. Okay, the laughter of your royal brides, and then she adds happiness to this and she adds color to the place, saying that, in the palace, I could, really hear the laughter of your royal brides, the queens, and, their attendants, everybody, they were having a good time and they were laughing and enjoying. They were having a lot of fun. Okay. So, and that also she could visualize. And these are the sounds that she could hear when the winds were blowing. So, Sarojini Naidu was standing amidst the silent, quiet monuments, that is the tombs. And then, she was saying that your spacious darkness guards your dust. Your bodies are guarded, the dust. Okay, and they are guarded by the spacious monuments or the tombs that are built. And when I look around, I could see this hoary plains, this very old plains, that speak about the grandeur of your reign. And when she was just looking around, she started dreaming about the ancient, she just was transported into she stepped into the past. And in front of her, she could see the fort, the kings, the queens, the soldiers, and along with the wind, there were some noises. And what was the sound that she was able to hear? That was the spears, the shining spears, when they are, clashing with each other, she could hear the sound of it. And in the other part, she could really hear the sounds of the brides, the royal brides who were laughing and having good time. Okay, now the meaning of muse is to think about something carefully for a long time, places which are very sacred, that is holy places. And then hori is very old, unquiet, is noisy, and glimmering is shine. Okay. So the poet says that she is gazing at the silent sacred tombs, which signify the resting place of the people of the bygone era. Okay, so who are the people who are put to rest in these seven tombs? They are the kings, queens, and the warriors. Okay, so there is emptiness, silence, darkness around, therefore, making the place more spacious. She says around her are the ancient and very old people are idle and rested. They are put to rest. Their tombs are being built. The poet has said that this place, the Kutushabi tombs, is the proof of your victories over the years. The monuments are intact and remind her of the era of bygone days. That is, it reminds her of the past. Okay, whose spacious darkness guards your nest. You can see how spacious the tomb is. Okay, so this place is guarding, overseeing the bodies that are buried and lying beneath the earth in the form of dust. That is, the Kutub Shahis are put to rest in such big and spacious tombs. Okay, the memories have faded away, but the monument speaks for itself. Okay, so they were put to rest. Maybe you cannot see them, but their architecture, their valor, their gallantry, the tombs speak about all these things. The monuments stand as testimonies, witness, they show us how great they were. Okay. So she pauses from her dream, her imaginary thoughts, her dreaming spirits of the bygone days, and can hear the wind blowing, which is unquiet, meaning that these thoughts of hers about these people are not clear and are distracted. She just paused because in the dream itself, and she started imagining. And these winds were not the sounds that the winds were bringing, like tides. They were not very clear, but they were just picturized. She could visualize so many things along with that. She visualizes that the rays of the sun are making the king's spear shine, and the sound of one spear against the other is the music to her ears. Okay. And then she talks about the wars. Children usually spears and then clashing of the spears. Usually we think of destruction. But look at the beauty of the imagination of this poetess children. She says she glorifies, she is really praising war as an object of courage and valor here rather than victorious achievements alone. She adds beauty to the place, and she is also showing the beautiful side things in the fort. What was that? That is, recalling that the brides, the women in that kingdom were happy and there was prosperity by speaking of their laughter heard. Okay, so she speaks about the victory of the kings, and she also speaks about what you call the prosperity, the happiness that is prevailing in the kingdom, and that is shown in the faces through the laughter of the brides. Okay, now, let's move on to the second stanza. In vain, O kings, does time aspire to make your names oblivion's sport, while yonder hill wears like a tire the ruined grandeur of your fort. Though centuries falter and decline, your proven strongholds shall remain, embodied memories of your line, incarnate legends of your reign. Okay. In vain. What do you mean by in vain? In vain is where, of no use. Now here, the poet is addressing the king. She is talking to the kings. And what is she saying? In vain, O kings. She's saying, O kings, time has, tried its best to make you forgetful. That is, to just vanish the glory of you. But, it was of no use. The time has tried its best. It has tried its best to make everybody forget your glory and grandeur. But it was of no use. While yonder hill wears like a tire the ruined grandeur of your fort. Okay, but the Golconda Fort, which stands like a crown here, it talks the ruined grandeur. Though because of several wars and all, some of the a bit of it is ruined. That is, it was during the invasions, it it got damaged. Okay, but still it speaks. The ruins, whatever you've seen, the reminiscent of it speaks about the grandeur of your fort. It talks about the greatness, the way you have built it, the speciality, and the way you have ruled the Qutub Shahi dynasty. Okay, that is what the poet is saying here. She is praising the kings, and she's saying that time. See, children, time heals everything. Time, one of the greatest blessings to human beings is forgetting things. So we tend to forget people. We tend to forget everything. And the Qutub Shahi tombs and Golconda Fort, almost 400 years ago, they were built. So it is very easy to forget things which happened 400 years ago. But children, the monuments, they stand as testimonies. They are the monuments are things which stay for a long time, and though they are the foreign invasions tried to destroy them, the ruins speak about yonder hill wears like a tire, this Golconda fort is like a crown, it is standing there, and it is speaking volumes about the greatness of your architecture and the greatness of your reign. Okay, now if you see the words here: aspire, sport, tire, fort. Aspire is rhyming with attire, and sport is rhyming with fort. Okay, so aspire is, when you think of, when you want something to happen. And what was it that time wanted to happen? It wanted everybody to, the grandeur of the greatness of the kings, it wanted it to be faded away. But did that happen? No. Now, how do you know that it did not happen? This is what, says that in vain, though time has tried its best, it wanted people to forget. Okay, it wanted the future generations to not to remember the grandeur of this Qutub Shahis. But, it tried its best, but it did not happen. It was of no use because these fort, okay, the Golconda fort and the Qutub Shahi tombs, okay, they stand as crowns, and then they speak about, though they are ruined a little bit, they are destroyed by foreign invasions. Still, you have a lot, and then they speak volumes about your grandeur, your greatness. Those centuries falter and decline. Many centuries have come up and many centuries have gone. Your proven strongholds shall remain, but your greatness and your grandeur shall remain. Embodied memories of your line. Okay, so you are reliving, and your memories are everlasting, incarnate legends of your reign. They are incarnated in your legends are being, written up, and they are, reiterated whenever you see these monuments that are being built by you. Okay, so let's take a look at the meanings once again. In vain is of no use. It was of no use. Doth is an old English children, which means does. Oblivion, being completely forgotten. Time wanted everybody to completely forget the rulers. But did it happen? No. And what made it everlasting? The monuments, the Golconda Fort, and the tombs, which are being, built in such a wonderful architecture. They are the ones which stand as testimony, and that's how the grandeur of the kings and the queens is, it will be carried to further generations. Falter, to lose strength or purpose, and decline is decrease. Embodied, give a tangible or a visible form. Okay, so your greatness and your legends are given a visible form through the Golconda Fort and the Qutub Shahi tombs. Okay, they speak about your legends. Okay. So the poetess addresses the kings here, and all the efforts to erase their name and fame, time was away. It did not work. Far away lies the fort of Golconda, which is speaking of the royalty, and like a crown is placed. Tire, it should, the poet says they're placed like a tire. Tire is, here it symbolizes a crown. Okay. These monuments remind us of the memories that these kings who made a mark for themselves and for the generations to come. Their empire and reign are still spoken about and is considered one of the most flourished ones. Centuries have rolled by, but the legends of Golconda are still popular. Okay, so many kingdoms have faltered and declined. That is, centuries have rolled by, but the legends of Golconda are still popular. Okay. Now let's move on to the third stanza, children. O queens, in vain old fate decreed, your far-like bodies to the tomb. Death is in truth the vital seed of your imperishable bloom. Each newborn year the bulbuls sing their songs of your innocent loves. Your beauty wakens with the spring to kindle this pomegranate grooves. Okay. Now, if you see, the poetess first spoke about the place, and then when she was dreaming about the past, and when she could see the kings and the queens, then she began to address the kings. Now she is addressing the queens, and she's saying, "Oh, queens, in vain old fate decreed." So, decreed is, what you call, it's a like a it's something inevitable, children, which it's like an order. Now fate, see, everybody who takes birth, they have to die, because death is inevitable. Death is something which you nobody in this world, whether it's a king or a pauper, death is inevitable to everybody. Here also, death, that is the fate of everybody who's born, the final destiny of everybody is to die. So it's an order, it's a decree of God. So here also, oh queens, okay, so death, that final destination, okay, it has laid your flower like bodies, your beautiful bodies to the tomb, okay, because death is the truth and it is the vital seed, okay, but of imperishable bloom. But children, look at the beautiful comparison that she makes here. She says that, though death is inevitable and it's the truth, which has laid you, put you into the tombs, that is, your flower like bodies after your death, they are, lying in the tomb. But that has laid a vital seed, okay? But because of your, the tombs are being built after your death, and then they bloom, your imperishable bloom. Every year during the spring, whatever, the greenery that you see, that talk about your imperishable bloom. That means something which cannot be. The everlasting grandeur and beauty of the queens is, reflected in the tombs. That is, the greenery around it reflects that. Okay, I hope it is clear, children. The poet is addressing the queens, and then she says that, everyone's fate by order from God is death. And just like that, even you, after your death, your flower like bodies, that is, your beautiful bodies were laid in the tomb. But that is where the seed for your imperishable bloom is laid. Okay, so, and every year we could see the beauty of you in the surroundings in these tombs. Each newborn year, the bulbils sing their songs of your innocent love. Your beauty awakens with the spring to kindle this pomegranate grooves. Okay, so every year during the spring, okay, when we see the bulbul singing, we can just visualize the beautiful king queens, and then and they will be singing the songs of your innocent loves. They'll be singing about, your legends, and then your beauty wakens with the spring. Okay, during the spring, when we see the pomegranate grooves with flowers and fruits. Okay, your beauty, we could visualize the beauty of you in those. That's what the poetess says. Okay, so what a beautiful description, children. Okay, so I don't think anybody can really ever describe a tomb, because a tomb is usually considered to be a dead place, without any glamour or anything. But look at the way Sarojini Naidoo has described it. Isn't it really beautiful? Look at the perception of the poet, children. That is why, poetry is said to be a pleasure. It's a pleasure to read such kind of poems, children. Okay, now just once again revise the meanings. The creed is order, and the fate of everybody by order is death. Imperishable is everlasting. The beauty of the queens is imperishable because of, the bulbils and the beautiful pomegranate grooves that you see in the surroundings of the Qutub Shahi tombs. Okay, so they are reborn. Okay, the queens, the beauty of the queens is sung by the bulbuls, and the beauty of the queens is being reflected in the pomegranate grooves that you find around the Qutub Shahi tombs. Okay, so just one more time. The poetess addresses the queens here. She says they may have died long ago, and their beauty is destined to tombs. Death is inevitable and may have taken away their beauty, grace, and charm. But these qualities are revoked by the melodious bulbuls every spring. Okay, so the pomegranate trees in the Ibrahim Bagh awaken every year. Their flowers and fruits reflect the delicate charm of the queens. Okay, now let's look at the theme of the poem, children. In the historical context, Sarojini Naidu, she picturizes the heroic courage, chivalry, glory of the kings and the queens of the bygone era. She is focusing on the brighter side of the kings. Okay, she's talking about the glory of the kings. The monuments symbolize a new testimony to the golden era that has vanished into the past. Time ticks on, time passes by, but the beauty of the tombs remains the same forever. Okay, so this poem ventilates an irresistible urge, okay, to promote the glory and culture of India. When you read this poem and when you describe or when you say this poem or when you explain this, people would really feel like visiting the tombs once again. And that is what, okay. So the glory and culture of India is what is really what you call uh, picturized in this particular poem, children. Okay, she strongly felt that the nobility, grandeur, and valor of the kings would be everlasting, though centuries falter and decline. Okay, so the noble deeds of the kings, the greatness of the kings, the bravery of the kings, and the monuments that they have built. Okay, so that they are the ones which remain forever, and they talk about the greatness of the kings. Okay, listening to the bulbul songs and the mesmerizing pomegranate grooves. Okay. The glory of the past prevails as quoted in a famous poem. Okay. So past is only, picturized through monuments and constructions, children. Okay. So, and this reminds me of the great, famous lines by one of the poet, Alfred Lord Tennyson. It says, men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. That is, the monuments remain forever and they speak about our past, our ancient history, and the grandeur of the kings and the queens who ruled our country. Okay, so let's preserve them for the future generations, children. Okay, so that they also feel proud when they visit such kind of sites and monuments. Okay, now coming to the language activity that you have in this, children, it is spelling and pronunciation that you have, wherein you have the silent B words. Okay, when you just flip the pages of your textbook after this poem, you'll find these, children. Let me just tell you a few words. It's bomb, B-O-M-B. Okay, the last B is silent. It is bomb, comb, dumb, land, climb, thumb, tum. Similarly, you have silent G words as well, children. That is sign, champagne, no, high, light. And then you have some of the words in your textbook. Please try to uh, say them. It is design, where G is silent, then malign, and then sovereign, where G is silent. You have a question on silent letters in your examination, children. So please focus on it. Okay, so coming to the annotations, the glimmering music of your spear, the laughter of your royal brides. Okay, so if you see children, each stanza you have a few lines are picked up and you need to write about them. So in the first stanza, it's the glimmering music of your spear, the laughter of your royal brides, and then in the second stanza, it's in vain, O kings, does time aspire to make your names oblivion sport. Then third stanza, it is your beauty wakens with the spring to kindle this pomegranate groves. Okay, so children, this is how you need to write the annotations, children. So you have to begin with the name of the poem and then name of the poet, then the laurels, that is the titles that are given to the particular poet or author, and then magnum opus is, the best collection of poems or the best collections of that poet or author, children. And here it is the golden threshold. And then you need to write the introduction. And in the introduction, you need to mention about the poet her collections, and you need to write a brief, achievements of the poet as well. And then comes the context and meaning, which you will find in your textbook, children, and then general relevance as well. Okay. Now coming to the questions. Okay. So usually the questions are based on the three things that you find in this poem. If you see, the first stanza talks about the place, the second time stanza talks about the kings, and then the third about the queens. Okay. So the questions are also going to be like this, children. They describe the feelings of the poet when she sees the tombs. Then how does the poet sing the glory of the Golconda kings? And then how does the beauty of the queens kindle the pomegranate groves? Okay, these are the important questions. And then there might be a question on the theme of the poem, which is rarely asked in the exam. Okay, so I hope you all have enjoyed the tour to the Golconda tombs. Just imagine, try to imagine and try to pen down your own feelings, children. See you soon. Thank you. And I thank everybody and the sources that I have taken. And I also thank the webinar team and all the subject coordinators who helped me to take up this session. Thank you. Archana ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Kalyani ma'am. That was really a very wonderful session. Children, how was your journey? I was very much thrilled by looking at the video. It was alive. I felt as if I was present over there. And really, I made my day today. During these days, like we were stuck on to the homes, that we didn't go anywhere for the past 6 to 7 months. But today I visited a beautiful place, which I can never forget. And the way you have rendered the poem explanation with your beautiful slides, colorful slides, it was really a magnificent way. Thank you very much. And the children, hope you all enjoyed by visiting this Golconda Fort now. And the way Sarojini Naidoo wrote when she visited, you too can also start writing. It doesn't mean that you need to visit a place to write. Wherever you are, you can start writing on those places. You can write about your own village, your home, on your parents, on your friends. Especially you can write on your school itself, the surroundings of the school, the pleasant environment of your school. And there's a small things. If you start penning, you will definitely when we meet physically, by the time you all will become a great writers. Before conclude, let me share mind-blowing and interesting facts about the Golconda Fort. First one is, there was a secret tunnel to escape. It's a secret tunnel and escape route. It is believed that there is a secret underground tunnel which begins at one of the Darbar halls and leads to one of the palaces at the bottom of the hill. The route was originally meant to escape, and world famous diamonds were found. And ancient madman who saved the city. A person called Majud, who was considered to be a madman, stayed beside the Fateh Darwaza and secured it. So by looking at the madman, generally we don't go nearer to a madman when you look at them. So that's how that madman saved or the secured it. And Thali Maro, Mia, that is the best part or the best thing what we can enjoy there. A clap at a fixed place at the entrance can be heard very clearly at the Balahisar Pavilion, the highest point almost a kilometer away. It served as, uh, as a way and for royals to know that if they had any guests, and it served as a warning. If anybody comes, if anybody enters, it gives a warning, because that sounds, the once you step, the people used to clap, and there the people used to receive the sound, and that's how it is a warning that yeah, somebody had entered the fort. And the fort has Mahankali temple on the top, and it inspired movies like Sri Ramadasu. Hope you all watched that movie number of times. This time when you watch, especially the jail scene that was uh, taken there. And it had a 400-year-old tree. There exists a 400-year-old tree, and amazing sound and light show. And the last one is, it was originally a mud fort. Have you ever heard it, mud fort? Generally, if you touch a mud, it falls. But this is made by mud and expanded later on. And literally, the Golconda is in Telugu. If you take, Gola is round, and Konda is a fort, that is round shaped hill, or it is also known as Shepherd's Hill. And it was originally known as Mankal. I hope you all enjoyed by knowing these mind-blowing and interesting facts about the Golconda. Children, this time you make sure that you visit Golconda Fort and watch all these interesting facts and start noting down the important things where you visit. And this is how you can learn and improve your writing skills. Thank you very much by listening me very patiently, though the time is up and the next session is already ready. Thank you very much, Kalyani ma'am, for your beautiful presentation, and all the webinar team. Thank you very much.